Morning, guys. Yes, I know I did not do this soon enough. This is the XC40. Yes, we were in Genting the other day, but I gave my allocation to Con and Fadil so that I saw their videos are out and all that. So this is the XC40, and this is my 1 week report after spending 1 week of time with this car. Okay, let's have a look at its exterior. I'm sure a lot of you have mentioned that it looks really good. Global response from every country has been very, very positive so far. So let's have a look at this design. All right, turn it around. Okay, now this is a surprising take on Volvo's new design language that was spearheaded by Thomas Ingenlath. Right, the Thomas Ingenlath design came out in the few concepts, and then XC90 was their first car, and then the S90, V90s, and then the XC60s. This is unique because this was something that Thomas Ingenlath mentioned the brief. You know, he wanted this to appeal to young working adults who are dynamic, you know, active lifestyle and all that, but it has to retain its intrinsic Swedish character. Then story has it that from the interview with the designer, this was his first sketch, and Thomas Ingenlath passed by his desk and popped back and looked at his design and said, "This is it, don't change anything, this is exactly what I want." And there you have it, exactly what they wanted. Look at the Thor's hammer was different here. It is very different. It's a lot more like a Y shape than a T shape. Okay, and everything looks really clean, but you see a lot of understated lines going on. I'll give you an example. Look at this line, right? That forms this indentation over here, and then it forms like a ring around the headlamp, and then it blends in. Right? This was repeated at the back. Look at that. This part, and then this slowly comes out. Right? And then it goes up into here, and all the way down into this, and forms the bonnet line. There is a lot of these type of really high-end design that only great designers can come up with, and this is one of them. You know, lovely design, and it looks very refreshing. It doesn't look like anything that Volvo has come up with. And look at the side profile, it is also very unique. Now, one trick this car has on everybody's eyes is that the way it is designed makes the car look a lot smaller than it actually is. From pictures, you would have expected this car to be somewhat the size of a Q3 or a GLA. It looks very small on picture because of the visual effects that they apply. Look at the concave on the lower part of the door. All right, it starts very early, okay, and then it blends in, and then it reflects light out, and then there is a large portion of the black claddings down there. This entire thing, all right, makes you thought that that's where the doors are small. It gives you the impression that the doors are very small, but in fact the doors are huge. Okay, and then you look at the D pillar. The D pillar is one big chunk that you feel that, wow, this car is actually very small, very tiny. You see, there is a lot of space for this car to have a window here, right? And then another quarter panel window here. If this car has the quarter panel windows, or if this entire part is a window, the car will look very, very big, just like other SUVs or wagons. But the visual effect gives you the impression that it's small, compact. But when you park this car next to a CX-5, next to a Forester, next to you don't even need to park it next to a GLA. It's one full size larger than the GLA. It is even larger than the Range Rover Evoque. It is very similar in size even when it's slightly shorter, only slightly shorter than the XC60 or Mercedes GLC, but overall it is the longest, tallest, everything in its class, in its segment that it was targeting. It is targeting the BMW X1, the Jaguar E-Pace. That one is not a target, but then that one is in the segment as well. And then of course the best-selling Mercedes GLA and BMW X1. These two are within its crosshair, but the GLA is massively outsized here in this contest, and the X1 is the most similar competition. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Let's look at the rear design. Look at that, very refreshing again. The sort of like a L-shaped tail lamp, and they didn't square this off here. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is exactly the same size as the previous XC60. I parked it next to them. All right. Now, in Malaysia, it comes in only R design trim. So this is the sportiest trim. You get the R design chassis. You get the R design little emblem over here, and then you get the R design wheels, R design seats. So this is sort of like the top spec that we're looking at in terms of trim levels. I've drove this in Sweden, but the one I drove is Momentum spec. So it is somewhat lower spec. Okay, this has been shown numerous times in a lot of online videos. You've seen it as well, right? You can fold this up as a parcel. Ladies' shoes can be placed inside like that. So for ladies, right, you can arrange your shoe boxes, all that over there. You can arrange some other things here, and then you can even hang your shopping bags over here. You can put some loose items here so that they don't fling around. It's a very usable boot, and this parcel can be removed easily and slot underneath here. Look at that, you can slot it underneath here, right? And then you cover it, and then you can fold the seats down, and then it's a full flat seat. Let me show you that quickly. Unfortunately, you don't have a lever at the back to drop the seats, because the seats are very, very heavy and it cannot be spring loaded. See, these seats, most European cars, right, the seat backs are extremely heavy. You go into an Audi or whatever, the seat backs are super heavy, so they cannot do it spring loaded like most Japanese cars, and then you pull a lever, the whole thing just drops. Okay, you can hold this thing and try it for yourself. Why is it so heavy? For comfort, for NVH, for soundproofing, the likes of it. Okay, this one, let's close the boot. The reverse camera is there. I have some concerns with the reverse camera. We'll talk about it later on. Okay, so these are shotted in 19-inch wheels. Yes, you'll be like, what, 19? Yes. Are they comfortable? Surprisingly, not bad. Okay, now let's get this out of the way first. The back seats. Okay, one look at it, you come inside here, and then you'll be like, wow. Now, for those of you, sorry if it's a bit dark here, because there's no panoramic roof in this car, so it might be a bit dark here because not many large glass areas for lights to come in, but that's the balance between styling and all that. Now, knee room, plenty. Headroom, plenty. My foot can comfortably slot underneath the front seats. So, on paper, this looks extremely okay. But it has the same problem as the previous Mazda CX-5, of which the seat back is rather upright. Okay, the seat backs are upright, so it gives you a higher seating position than the front, and it gives you very good visibility, even though by right it should be hindered. So these are the sacrifices that they make. Why? The seat back. The seat back, right, is the result of consumer surveys. Okay, because they have to determine, you see, this car has a confined space, and they have to determine whether it's for ferrying adults or ferrying kids or having luggage or a very usable boot. These three things would fight with each other. Now, if you put a child here, Because for the target market of this car is those 30-year-olds or young families or those who are still single, okay? For young families, right, the kids are most of the time like 5 years old, 6 years old. They'll be sitting at the back seat here. This back seat was optimized to let kids have their thighs here and then come down, and they can sit very, very comfortably as a children. But for an adult, you will feel that the seat bench is too short. You compare this to a 5 Series. The 5 Series, the seat bench might be about 2 inches more, which is perfect for an adult. But if the kid were to sit here, he wouldn't be able to bend his knees here. And then his legs have to be straight. And if his legs are straight, there will not be enough room here. This is the reason for the seat bench. Now, what about the seat back? Let's talk about this again. They determine that if you are an adult lady, successful, you always sit in the front, you tend to need the boot a lot for your gym stuffs, for your shoes, for your equipments, for your weekend bags, duffel bags, things like that, your shopping bags. That's why they decided that if they have a seat back that is slanted, that creates more room for occupants that you may use once or twice a month and then give up the boot space where you use daily, they felt that that is a compromise. So the only thing about this car is that the rear seats are like the first gen CX-5. They are too upright. You decide whether it suits you or not, but I have to point that out to you because when I sit at the back, it is very, very upright. That's what I felt. But in terms of room, no issues as I demonstrated earlier on. Okay, let's go to the front seats. Now let's have a look at the front seats. This has been a big selling point, right? No cars have made door bins this accessible, this functional, and I've always said all door bins should be like that because we use that a lot. And why they design like that? They say you're able to put a laptop in, and then you start thinking, who the hell take out their laptops and put them on a door bin, right? You have to ask ladies again. I noticed this. Ladies carry a handbag, and they're not like guys, right? They won't carry a handbag and have another backpack or have a briefcase sort of Targus kind of bag because it doesn't fit their image, it's ugly. So most women will carry a handbag and have a laptop in a sleeve, and they just carry the sleeve and the laptop around. That is what most women will do. So on that context, they designed this so that those successful women or normal working women, right? Every woman is successful, right? They just slot their entire laptop bag and with sleeves here. Okay? They can put their, Starbucks bottle over there. And this is good. This is non-true because a lot of people don't like this to go through and then they drop their stuffs in. So you can put your stuffs here as well. And then look at the seats. The seats are usual, wonderful Volvo seats, very comfortable. And this is our design. So you have nubuck leather over here, perforated leather over here, contrast stitching, very nice. This feels like Napa. Lovely. Now let's go inside here. Oh, the pedal placements are very comfortable again. Now, sitting position is very good. Let me turn you around. The sitting position is very good. Visibility is excellent. Of course, with all these cars with a huge safety feature, this whole IntelliSafe thing, this thing is rather bulky, but it obstructs me at places that I don't need the windscreen to do its job. You get what I mean, right? What we need is basically the lower half of the windscreen when we drive a car. So the upper half, you can put your stickers, you can put your stuff, you can block it with your IntelliSafe, anything. The steering is the best steering that Volvo currently makes because it is slightly smaller in diameter than the one in the XC90, the bigger brother series. It is slightly smaller. It is also, I may be wrong, but more contoured. There's more shape for me to hold. It feels more comfortable. Perforated leather over here. And then this thing is more of like a trapezoidal shape now instead of a square, shape. Okay? And I like this. This one is comfortable. I love satin chrome. I always touch and touch, rub and rub and touch and rub. Okay, this is nice as well. The paddle shifters feel comfortable, they feel chunky, they're rubberized at the back, they are metallized at the front. It feels great to work on. Okay, the door handles as well, satin chrome, feels really good to the touch. And you have this pattern here, this really interesting pattern. It is concaved in, and all these little sort of reflecting patterns are metallized. So the light that comes off it is just a mere reflection, but because of the material. And sorry, gotta turn this around now. Okay, the aircon vents, they have updated the aircon vents again, and this one looks less luxurious. You know, the one in the 60 and the 90 series is one knob and then one slim turbine light. That looks very classy, but this one looks very edgy, very nice. And it is the shape was continues over here. So I like this design, you know. This interior design is very nice. Look at that. Okay, now one thing I felt Volvo could have done better is, look at this. This is an LCD screen. LCD screen means you can do anything you like with it, isn't it? Right. So why is it that since it is an LCD screen that they did not design a different one for the 40 range or the 60 range or the 90 range? Because now this is glass. Okay, I go into minimalistic. Look at that. This is minimalistic. I'll go back to glass to let you see the difference. And then I go into performance, of course it's red, and then I go into chrome rings. Now, these four options are exactly identical across 40, 60 and 90 range. Maybe they're too busy trying to debug software and all that. They don't have time for this kind of flashy stuff. But I felt this also sets the tone and the mood for the car, isn't it? If it is a 40 series, you could have made it a bit more, I mean, of course, not as over-designed as the French one where it moves and all that, right? Not to that extent, but at least you could have had a different theme. And Mercedes does a very good job at that in their themes. Okay, now interior. Now this is of course another big selling point. Look at this thing here. This is the only car with a dedicated tissue box compartment, so you can put a full tissue box inside here, and then you can grab the tissues, right? And then after which you have a dustbin. I kid you not, this is a dustbin. You want to throw this away? Done. It's a dustbin. It is. I'm not joking. And to clear it, look at that. And you can dump it. You can put a bag inside if you want to. And there's a little net at the back here. Fantastic utilization of space. I think this is award winning here. I think this car won a lot of awards. Even won a European Car of the Year and all that. Let's look at the center compartment. I've always said I love cars that utilize this compartment. Alright, block it up and then you have a fantastic compartment. This is very big, very wide, and is wireless charging. Now that day I tried wireless charging in the M5 with the ring. The M5 could even pops it up, right? But this car cannot. This car I have to remove the casing. Actually, like all cars, none of the wireless chargers can go past the heights of this ring here. So yes, it is charging. See, there you go. Yep, it is charging now. Charging wirelessly, 78%. 47 minutes until fully charged. Okay, so it charges, but it's not the one in the M5. Surprisingly, very powerful. Look at that. Doesn't do anything. Okay, now this is exactly identical with the XC90, XC60. So, like I mentioned again, Volvo's design concept is 3 screens. They have 3 screens, and the one on the right replaces all the on-off buttons you used to have around the car. So if you think that is this an on-off function, then it will be on the right side. There you go. Everything on-off is here. One touch, on-off, no settings, nothing. If you need to go in and do some arrangements and all that, swipe to the left. You have the FM radio, you have the car status, you can download new apps, you can look at your driver performance. Those are on the left. Alright, from the top here, you have more detailed settings that you might only once in a while go in and do adjustments. This is Volvo's concept. They do not group things like how the Germans do. Germans group everything under infotainment, group under navigation. You can group back then when cars have less function. But now when cars have so many functions, how do you even start grouping them, right? It's very hard. Now, come to here. Another thing for ladies, look at that. This is a handbag hook. Now, a lot of ladies come up to their cars and then they put their handbags on the wheel well. Sometimes the wheel wells are clean. Sometimes your bag is a very beautiful new beige color, Hermes or Chanel. You just don't want to put it on the footwell, right? So you can hang it here. Yeah, pretty sturdy, holds about 2 kilos. So don't hook a laptop back there, you are asking for trouble. That's the interior, alright? So, about the reverse camera just now, let me show you this. Reverse camera. Sorry. Now, I'm trying to move front now. Okay, look at that. Oh, it should continue show. This is just software. It is very, very wide angle. I can see a little bit of my bumper. And then as I turn the steering wheel, I can see the lines changing. But overall, I hope Volvo engineers could look at how Porsche does their reverse camera, where they draw a box, a square box that is translucent, and then the graphics that was generated from the camera with the software that overlays it doesn't create such a distorted image that is harder to perceive. Now, if I were to go into zoom, look at that. Okay, this is what I see, right? And as I zoom, I can no longer see or understand what I'm looking at. Yeah, that is the problem with the software. Okay, but they can do over-the-air updates. All right, so let's go for a drive. What do we see here? The seats are upright. Okay, and that reverse camera bit, and nothing much. Let's go for a drive. Now, the handling of the car. This car handles. This car really handles. We were surprised by that because we thought Volvo would focus on comfort more and then dial in some handling. But this one was the other way around. They focus on handling and then they dial in some comfort. Okay, so this outhandles the Mini Countryman, it outhandles the X1, it outhandles the GLA, it even outhandles the Tiguan, but only ever slightly. It also outhandles the CX-5. But the CX-5, in terms of overall integration of how you prod the throttle, how the car smoothly reacts, the CX-5, I would say it is still a benchmark when it comes to smoothness of operational smoothness. Okay, the CX-5 does have that, and suspension of this sort of matches up to the Tiguan as well. The Tiguan is comfortable generally, but you go over some sharper bumps and all that, it will still send a little bit of judder in. In terms of comfort, the X1 or the Mini Countryman, or basically all new BMW products, they are actually better. They are so good in balancing ride and handling. Even though the handling in this respect, this guy is sharper, but in terms of the ride, those boys really nailed it. You know, their cars are so comfortable, the suspension pliancy is so good, and but this guy is better than the XC90 when it comes to ride comfort. Not just overall comfort, but I mean going over speed bumps, going over this sort of stuffs. Why? The XC90, if you go over a speed bump at 30 km/h, you will hear bump stop, ka-tung. You will hear that. This one doesn't. This one goes up and down, firm, done, settled. So on that respect, they have improved on that. Another thing that I'm happy to report is soundproofing from the undercarriage. All the modern Volvo products, be it a Spa platform, XC90, S90 or XC60, right? They are all very good in wind
wind noise proofing, okay? Wind noise is very low and all that. But they have sound emanating from the undercarriage, of which this guy eliminated that. So in that respect, this is a job well done. They improve it regardless of whether the product positioning, of whether the XC90 is a higher range product, this is a lower end product. They did not segregate it that way. They are able to improve it, and then they just go ahead and improve it. Okay, visibility, sitting position up front is very good. Everything is very well sorted. You can feel that this car has been they put a lot of attention in rectifying a lot of little things and solving some stuffs that were inherent or we have experienced in their cars. So this deserves a thumbs up. Okay, now other than that, power. This car actually, in terms of market segmentization, it competes against the GLA, the X1, okay, and the likes of it. But in terms of power and equipment, this again, it is above all its competition. Okay, why? You have the full safety features, the pilot assist, the lane departure, lane keep assist, and lane departure mitigation, everything, city safety, semi-autopilot, everything, the full works of it in the big brother XC90 is available in this car. Okay, and in terms of power, you think about it this way: the BMWs, they have their 20i, they have their 30i. Mercedes, they have their 200s, they have their 250s, and their 300s. Okay, the 300s and the 30i are sort of equivalent, right? The 300 is 245 horsepower and the 30i is 252 horsepower. This boy here is 250 horsepower, equivalent to that range, but look at the price, it's 255. Okay, the GLA 250, which only has 211 horsepower, is already 270,000 ringgit. So this guy is faster. Okay, and then the drive mode, I enter dynamic mode. Immediately you can tell the steering wheel tighten up, the throttle response is more sensitive, and the suspension tightens up. So you can feel the suspension, the response from the suspension. Immediately everything feels a little bit faster in terms of how it reacts to the road. Okay, and of course the throttle response, the brakes are really good, firm, progressive, and they don't judder. Alright, every time you do a kick down on the throttle in dynamic mode, what you're experiencing again is the two things that I try to mention in this review: throttle lag and turbo lag. These two things. This car has very good throttle response, but that doesn't mean it can beat physics. Physics means you need enough exhaust gas to go into the turbines, to spool the turbines. The turbine will spool the other turbine that will pull in more air and compress them. Okay, that is physics. Alright, so this car's throttle response is really good. That means it doesn't have throttle lag. But when you don't have throttle lag, you also sort of makes people notice turbo lag, because when you do a full kick down, the car immediately moves, but it moves at a slower pace. Then suddenly the boost comes in, boom, at a faster pace. So that is how this car feels, which I think I would appreciate on a day-to-day driving. On day-to-day driving, when I don't need that much boost, I need immediate throttle response, and that is a good thing. Of course, it is still no match to the CX-5 yet. CX-5, they have a dedicated department just to do that thing where your feet moves ever so slightly on the pedal, it registers here. You can see a difference here. So Mazda is really king at that in terms of driver and car mechanical human sort of interaction. They are still very, very good at that, the oneness thingy. Okay, now in terms of outright handling, outright driving this car, fast pace, corner to corner, left to right, I think this car, it beats the CX-5 slightly, it beats the Tiguan also very slightly, it clearly beats the GLA, the X1, it beats them in terms of handling. We were surprised by this, that this car has more handling dialed in than only comfort was considered compared to its rivals. Okay, So the rival, say like the Mini Countryman, you will feel that, hey, it lost that old Mini harshness, right, kind of thing, and it's so comfortable because they focus on comfort more. And then you see just now, right, just now what happened was that I was doing a full lock, right, and then I throttled down, and then the car sends power to the wheels without the ESC or whatever coming in. So of course that is an advantage of four-wheel drive system, but this four-wheel drive system is rather competent, I would say. It's a good one. It's a good one, and we're happy to report that. But Volvo has always had all-wheel drive cars in their lineup. You know, they've always been a purveyor of their, their XC series, so they have relatively very good experience when it comes to doing transverse engine front-wheel drive layout cars that has an adaptation to four-wheel drive. They've always been very, very, very good at that. But in terms of the drivetrain pairing, it is smooth, it is comfortable, it is not a car that provokes you to want to drive fast. It is not a Golf R, it is not a GLA 45. It is never that. It is a car that you can drive comfortably, daily, smoothly. Okay? And one thing I still don't like is that whenever you are operating anything, someone comes near to you, that proximity screen comes up, and then it just sort of ignore what you were doing, and the whole screen, the whole 12 inches of screen was replaced with that proximity sensor thingy. I mean, they should just have a small icon or use this screen instead to pop that up, and then let us continue operate what we're doing here. Yeah. So yeah, very practical package, very comfortable car to drive in, excellent fit and finish inside, power to price ratio is fantastic as well. Does it lead the class? Yes, it leads the class now. It does, it does. You can even pull in competition like cars like the Range Rover Evo, or the even the Macan. The Macan, of course, the handling of the car is crazy. That's a Porsche, okay, and that is double the price away. Yeah, lovely car to drive, and you should go and test drive it. You should really go and test drive it. You know, put it under various modes and accelerate hard, brake hard, steer. You know, go nice sharp roads. It is a nice car to drive. In fact, why do I not do more driving? Right? Look at that. Leans in, body control is so good. You can drive fast with this car, and you can even point your steering nicely where you want it to be. Lovely. Lovely. This is a fast car. I'm in comfort mode, you know, just now. Now I'm in dynamic. See, even in comfort mode, it does what you want it to do immediately. That is one thing I appreciate, and that is the one thing that I love my Audi the most, because I don't need to fiddle to dynamic or whatever just so that the car responds to my inputs. Like my BMW, I need to go into sports mode. Look at this guy. Flies, man. It flies. It's fast. Very fast. Is the suspension as pliant as the Subaru XV? No. The Subaru XV in front has an excellent suspension when it comes to ride comfort, but I don't really like the initial response from the steering. It feels rather dead. Wow, big potholes. Nice. And the Subaru XV is quieter than this car. I kid you not, it is quieter. Yeah, but in terms of the drive, that car, right, you can throw it into a corner. It has very little steering feel, and extremities where other cars would start losing control, you can feel the all-wheel drive system doing its magic, pulling you back into line. But that comes a little bit slower, so initially you start to understeer, and then it comes in and then it pulls you back. But that car is very well engineered. It's very quiet, very comfortable, but super small. The boot space of that car is horrible. For that kind of size, right, its boot space is just utterly horrible. You can't even do a proper KLIA run to fetch your relatives who come back from KLIA. HRV can do that. Okay. So yeah, very, very well done, this car, very well done. Again, let's do a quick recap, okay? Does it ride as good as some of its other competitors? The XV rides better, the Countryman rides better. There are quite a few German European products out there that rides better. When it comes to handling, it is near the top, very near the likes of, I'll put aside the Macan, okay? It is at the near the top, together with the CX-5 or the Tiguan. This might be slightly even better, maybe because it has more power. Because the Tiguan, you are affected by the dual clutch, the 7-speed dual clutch. The lag, I tell you, you put your throttle down and then you just wait, right? The CX-5 lacks power. Look at that. Okay, just now I was doing a full lock U-turn. I do a full kick down. It doesn't cut my engine power. What it does, it transfers the power to stabilize me and helps me pull myself out of that situation. Pretty good. Pretty good. Lovely. Oh, one more thing. Why this also outhandles some of its rivals is because, let's say for example, the Mini Countryman, it comes with Pirelli Cinturatos. This comes with Pirelli P0s. You know the answer already. P0s and Cinturatos cannot be even compared. Okay, so this comes with a better tire, much better tire, higher grade tire, and that gives the grip. So yeah. Oh, does it feel understeery like our front wheel drive Audis? Nope, nope. Very nice. Does it look expensive enough? Yes. Very unique design. It doesn't look as expensive as the GLC in front, but compared to its rivals, even if you park this alongside the Range Rover Evoque, I don't think it loses out in terms of design. But when it comes to looking expensive, Mercedes really know their stuff. Look at the GLC, man. The GLC looks expensive. It looks premium. That's one thing that I like. The X1 doesn't look expensive, unfortunately. And what else? What else is in the competition? Q3, sorry lah. Too old. Still looks cute, but the Q3 doesn't even have a driving position that someone my build can properly sit in. So, what other little complaints that I have? This car, the telescopic steering doesn't telescope enough. It should be able to pull out more, because someone with a longer leg might want to sit further back, and then the steering wheel will be sort of in the way of being able to be adjusted to a nicer driving position for that guy, taller build. So yeah. What else? Did I miss anything? Nah. Lovely car to drive. Lovely car to drive. Sporty, but without sacrificing comfort. And in terms of suspension maturity, it is a lot better now than other Volvo products. Still not as there as the BMWs or the new A4, but other than that, well done. Very well done. Cheers, guys.
Hey guys, if you would like to support what we're doing, just hope you can click the subscribe button. And if you do not want any email updates after you subscribe, just don't click the bell. You saw that little bell there? Don't click that bell and you're fine. There won't be emails harassing you. Just as a form of appreciation or encouragement, I hope you can subscribe to our channel, my own channel, and there's Korn's channel, there is Fadil's channel, and there's Bing's channel. Hope you guys can subscribe to us. And then if you want to look for us on Facebook, it is Horizon Malaysia on Facebook, okay? And then on Instagram as well, where we will start to upload more and more behind the scenes, about us on Instagram. So there will be a different sort of things that we're gonna upload on Instagram versus Facebook from now on. So hope you guys can support us in the things that we do. The only things we want to do is we review cars in a very honest manner, so that new car buyers can have a better insight and detail into what they're looking at. And then for used car and recon car buyers, you can bring your car to our clubhouse
we will have mechanics to do a full inspection for you free. But of course, we will let you know what are the things that your car requires you to do, and we even give you the quotation, the cost of it, and then you can go off. If you want to, you can proceed with the job. If you want to, it is entirely your option. Okay, that is what we do for recon and used car buyers, and we also do car safety workshops, weekend drives, long distance drives, meetups, and the likes of it. Okay, so thank you so much for your support. We have been really grateful of being able to do the things we like, and you guys appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. Cheers.